Start recording. Stop recording button.
Hi everybody, this is Micah Grell, and right now I'm going to do a review of the Aftershocks Aeropex, which are their latest bone conduction headphone. Now, a bit of history. In 2015, I had surgeries to put grafts in holes that were in my eardrums due to tubes falling out. And after both of the surgeries were done at UCLA Medical Center, I came back and had a hearing test here in San Luis Obispo. And during that hearing test, they were playing the normal test tones, with their normal diagnostic tips and whatnot. And, the assistant to my doctor, Dr. James Michael Malott, came in and put a pair of bone conduction headphones on my jawbones. And, she closed the door to the sound booth and started playing test tones in my right and left sides of my head individually. And when she played the tones in the left side of my head, I was shocked because it was like, oh my God, I just heard that. So after the testing was done, I, went out and my doctor said to me, so when we were testing your right ear, we, could keep the volume at 15, but when we tested your left ear, we had to turn the volume up to 75. And he said, your left eardrum is not physically connected to your cochlea. So basically what that means is if I were to listen to music or any other kind of sound using any normal studio headphones, sound that would play in my left ear would sound kind of distant and far back. And, when music is heard through that ear the way it is now, there's no lower frequency. There's no there's no bass or anything. It'd be like if you took an EQ and you just notched all the bass out of it. You took an EQ and you cut it down to 200 hertz and then just left it there. Just notched all the bass out. That's what it's like. So, people have always asked me, oh, why do you move your head and shit? Why do you move your head like that? Well, turns out, and I didn't even know this, it's a hearing problem. Because if you have a conductive hearing issue and you use normal headphones, you're not going to hear the deficit, okay? You're not going to hear what you're not hearing. You're not going to know anything is wrong. Because all you're going to perceive is what you're hearing out of your good ear. You know, you're not going to know that anything is wrong. So, anyway, a couple of years go by, and I got the Aftershocks Air, which are a pretty good headset. But last year, Aftershocks created the Aftershocks Aeropex, which I have on my head. Now, hopefully you can see them. Hopefully you can. If you can't see them, let me know in the comments. So anyway, a couple of things that are important about these headphones. One, they're angled at 30 degrees to your head, left and right. Now, the reason that's important is because they're angled that way, the transducers are able to make better contact with your jawbones. So, my only complaint about these headphones is that when you
Mail.
power...
4 minutes. Stop
Jesus.
recording button.
Sorry. When you power these on, there's a voice prompt that says, "Welcome to Aftershocks," and then it will say pairing. That's not the problem. I need verbal notification of what's happening. The problem is that is not text to speech. Now, what you just heard when my mail app interrupted me was voiceover. Now, if it were text to speech, it would tell me the actual battery percentage. Because when you hit one of the volume buttons after it's powered on and you're not playing music, it'll say battery high, battery medium, or battery low. And when it's time to charge them, it will just say, charge me. So that's my only complaint with these headphones. Now let's get into how they sound. Now, I'm going to go over how they sound without your ears blocked and how they sound with your ears blocked. Now, the way they sound regularly, as you know, when you're just wearing them, they sound fine. They'll be good. You know, you can listen to a podcast or a radio show with them and hear everything else around you, and it won't be a problem. Okay, you know, there won't be any problem. Now, there's a reason that Aftershocks includes earplugs in the packaging. And the reason is because the eardrum is never involved with bone conduction. When you block your ears and close off your ear canals, what happens is the ear protection being there, it 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 basically acts as a resonance chamber for the sound. So when you're listening to music and you block your ears, you're going to perceive the low end of what you're hearing. Now, if you're like me and you have had a deficit in one of your ears for a long time, that ear is going to sound very concise. You're going to hear it very clearly. And the reason is because, that ear hasn't received any real transmission for a long time. So there's going to be a bit of stereo bleed where, the left side bleeds into the right side and the right side bleeds into the left, if that makes any sense. Now, depending on whether or not you go to a lot of concerts, that's going to affect how you hear these. Okay. Now, the last hearing test that I got, which was less than a year ago, revealed that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the hearing that uses bone conduction. So when I block my ears and get that low end, I apologize for that. I live by a fucking highway and I don't have a sound booth. Excuse me. When I block my ears and perceive that low end, I'm hearing literally everything in a track. Every hi-hat, every vocal track. I'm hearing things that no one else will be able to hear. And there's another reason for this. Air conduction, which is what normal headphones use, has a frequency cap of 20,000 hertz. Okay, so if you were to look at a frequency graph, which of course wouldn't do me any good, you would see that it caps out at 20,000 hertz. Because that's just the limits of air conduction. Now, bone conduction will actually allow you to hear up to 100,000 hertz of frequency. Now, most music files and most streaming services aren't going to give you that kind of fidelity. Okay? You would have to be listening to FLAC files or have a higher quality file than MP3s. But again, going back to how these sound, it's a very flat sound signature. Because as I said, once you block your ears, you get that low end back. And it's a very flat response. Which again, a lot of people that review these headphones, they don't know that. They say they don't sound good because they haven't blocked their ears. But you could use these for monitoring in a studio if you needed to. Let's say you were trying to hear what individual tracks sound like in a Pro Tools session. Let's say you had a 50-track Pro Tools session and you were actually trying to monitor. You could do it, okay? With your ears blocked, of course. In fact, a lot of people in comment sections on reviews of bone conduction headphones have stated that they're impaired like I am, and they use these kinds of headphones in studios. And another advantage to these Aeropex is that they have Bluetooth 5.0, which is the latest Bluetooth standard. Now, there's a little bit of lag with Bluetooth, which will probably never go away at this point. And you could also have issues with walls getting in the way and whatnot, or being near metal. But for me, as far as walking around the house or going anywhere else, there is barely any cutout with music. But as I stated before, this is the best sound I've ever heard out of a headset. And I've tried other headsets. I've tried Bose headsets. I've tried Sony's more bass-heavy headsets. I haven't tried their mastering line of headphones. But these are the best sounding headphones I've heard. So, Aftershocks has clearly been listening to people like me who actually need these headphones. So, if you're someone like me who has a conductive hearing issue, these are the headphones you should get. They're about $150, but you're not paying for just a brand name. You're actually paying for a precise transducer. All right? You're paying for a very high quality transducer, which can cover every spectrum of the frequency. I mean, vocals sound like they're where they need to be. Bass is plenty when you have your ears blocked, but it's not It's not overwhelming. But as I said, especially the higher frequencies, you will hear things that you've never heard in your music before if you have your ears blocked. I'm telling you, you may as well have a pair of, monitoring headphones on when you have your ears blocked, But again, you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to get professional sound. These are like $150. So there you go. That's my review of the Aftershocks Aeropex. So that's it, man. Get these headphones, folks. Just get them. You won't regret it.